Hello guys, welcome back to Echelon's Hub, and today I'm going to talk about a subject that I'm particularly fond of, which is the locomotives of the Peloton. So first of all, I ask that if you like this new content that I'm making, that you would subscribe. It would be a major help to my long-term goal of making live streams here on YouTube, and I would love it if you would help me with it. So let's get on it. Today I'm going to talk about freeriders in particularly. Although there are plenty of others that could be mentioned, these three catch my attention because of their pure talent combined with class and the tactics, and because they're also free riders that are very active in Strava with their power output, so they allow me to frequently see their data, to know what they can do, to know when they're getting on form, and it makes performances like the ones that I'm going to show now a matter of time, a matter of when, and not if. So the first rider I'm going to talk about is Thomas de Gendt, and I mean, it just had to be Thomas de Gendt. Thomas de Gendt is our god. He's our hero. He became a professional with McCansell in 2011. Well, he didn't become a professional, he had already raced in top sport, but he went on to the big stage in there. In the 2012, he was already in big scenes as he finished third in the Giro after an epic win on the Stelvio. He then turned around a bit of his attention. I don't think it was kind of public at the time, but he decided not to focus on Grand Tours despite having the clear talent for it. He decided on breakaways. He decided on that kind of racing. Very intuitive, very explosive, unpredictable, but a lot less pressure. He seemed to function better with it, and over the course of the last few years, he's net an impressive number of wins. In the World Tour alone, he's net 4 wins in Catalonia, 2 stages in the Tour, 1 stage in the Dauphiné, the Romandie, and the Vuelta. I think all of them must have come from breakaways indeed, and most of them from solo moves indeed. And what's impressive about Thomas de Gendt is that he's such a classy rider. He isn't overly heavy. He isn't a big, powerful rider. He weighs 69 kilograms. However, when you take a look at his wins, it is incredible how prominent his power is for such a lightweight rider. In Catalonia, for example, averaging 324 watts in the win that he had on the opening stage last year, and then the epic win that he had in the Tour, averaging 311 watts. And we've seen these wins as an example of what he does best, which is to go all day long. He's a rider who's capable of making a big move early in the day, making a big move in the middle of the day, and then finishing the stage very strong. He is superb in that. He is a rider that is capable of going on and on and on, and the longer the stage is, the better. He can also fit very well in the 3 weeks scenario. He finishes the races always very strong. Some of his biggest wins were indeed in some of those scenarios, like the Stelvio, like the Vuelta stage, and even the Tour one in Mont Ventoux. It was also it was late in the race. He's an impressive rider. He's still not outside of his peak, and I hope to see a lot more from him. Nonetheless, he is the face of a breakaway specialist of this generation, essentially. He's a smart rider, he's very powerful, and he's just charismatic. The second rider that I'm going to mention here is Filippo Ganna. He's a rider for Team Ineos. He turned professional in 2017 with Emirates, and it's Italian base. It was a natural team for him to come upon, as there aren't Italian teams in the World Tour right now. He went on to Team Ineos, a team with a lot of foundation also on Italian riders, and throughout his whole career, and even before he was a pro road racer, he was already world champion on the track. He's at this point 4-time individual pursuit world champion, which by itself is incredibly impressive, but even more so when you consider that he's only 23. And why is Filippo Ganna so special? Well, he isn't exactly a rider that has net big wins so far, although last year he definitely pushed his gear a lot more. Working with Ineos definitely gave him some benefits that he hadn't had before. He took a stage in the Tour de la Provence, in the national championships, in the Big Bang Tour, all of them in time trials, and then he finished third in the World Championships. And Filippo Ganna isn't a rider that I chose so much because of his tactics. I think that is in fact something that's holding him back a little. He still hasn't learned how to race perfectly, and as the other specialists in this kind of, well, in breakaways, and he's also, well, in breakaways and in classics, but he's also a rider in a team that has a lot of responsibility. He works for Ineos. He pretty much always has a leader wherever he goes, and if he goes to a Grand Tour, it is sure that he's going to be having to work for a leader. The others also do in a small case, but Ganna more. Ganna is such a powerful rider. He weighs, according to Pro Cycling Stats, only 76 kilograms, which completely blows my mind when I read that his 4 kilometer power for the track is predicted to be above 600 watts. I'm going to leave here the link to the channel where I've got this data from. He is a rider that I check on Strava very frequently. I see the power outputs that he does, and it's simply incredible. And I have some examples here of, well, the first example is actually racing of this year, part of the Digital Swiss indoor racing, if I'm not mistaken. He averaged 463 watts for almost an hour. He was beaten by Stefan Kung on that day, but nonetheless, it's still very impressive. The second example that I have is his victory in the Tour de la Provence, where he averaged 527 watts for almost 10 minutes, and there are glitches and lacks of calibration sometimes in Strava. I have seen that. However, I can assure that this is not a glitch. This is real life. This is legitimately what he put out on that day. He naturally won this stage. We wouldn't expect any less from him. And at only 23, and in a team with so much potential and fame for developing young riders, because it's pretty much one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest in the current Peloton. It's just a matter of time before we see this rider become a time trial world champion, and I would say even more, taking stage wins in the Grand Tour. Just has to adapt his skill set. And the last rider that I've brought up is a rider that, if you follow me, you would know that I particularly love. I really love Remy Cavagna. He's only 24. He turned pro in 2017 for the Koenig Quick-Step after coming from the Koenig's development team, Klein Constantia. In 2018, he won the Dwars West Vlaanderen. He was part of the Koenig team that was kind of the development. This was a Belgium sub-classic. The competition wasn't big, but he showed his power there very, very well. And it was already a matter of time as well for his big wins to come. Last year, he took a big solo win in California. Who could forget? I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't be able to forget that nasty descent that he had to do, where it was so dramatic. But I'm pretty sure that you remember that over the fact that he won over 7 minutes over the Peloton, and if I'm not mistaken, a little over 6 minutes over his closest chasers, which is just mind-blowing. And we have also here it was a very recent, actually, from a training ride where he averaged 562 watts for 5 minutes. That means 7.2 watts per kilogram, 5 minutes. He weighs 78 kilograms. And you can see exactly where he does his best here. Last year, his Vuelta stage win was also something that I was highly predicting to happen. I didn't think much that a breakaway would succeed in that day, but as soon as I saw him in a breakaway, it was just a sure thing. He averaged 423 watts for 44 minutes during a solo move. It included massive power peaks right when he attacked, and then in the finishing climb, it was an amazing win. All we hold off the Peloton. More of these are to come. This year, he already showed his talent by winning the Classique Von Ardèche. He averaged 311 watts, and again, it's just a brutal sample of a rider exactly like the Ghent. And you see a rider like Cavagna, who is 78 kilograms, flying up mountains pretty much. It's not big mountains, but big climbs in the Climbers Classic. He got on a breakaway and he won. He won with almost 3 minutes of advantage over the Peloton. Well, over the Peloton, because everyone arrived solo. It was a rainy day, constant going up and down, and you can't even imagine how much the normalized power would be on this day. But it's impressive to think about it, and those are the names that I had to bring up for today. There are plenty others which I could do. There are plenty more that maybe I will still do if there's good feedback on this segment. And for example, Niels Pollitt, Stefan Kung, Wout van Aert, and Tim de Klerk are the first that pop to mind. But in here I also focus a lot on riders that have active Strava accounts with power output, because those are the ones that I can study. Those are the ones that I can see frequently and know what's normal and not normal to them. And I will surely keep an eye on more and perhaps do more of this video segment. However, if you've liked this kind of content, if you've liked this video especially, it would be awesome if you could subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.